Hello YouTube, Unknown Prepper here. Today I'm going to be covering something that I don't see too often on YouTube. I'm going to go over different power sources that you can use in a catastrophe / grid down event, starting from something very small, rechargeable batteries, chargeable packs, larger chargeable packs, solar, all the way up to a whole house generator. I'm going to list the pros and cons of each and what I think you should use them for in each situation. So starting out with the rechargeable batteries, like I said, going to start real small. One of the advantages to rechargeable batteries is right in the name, they're rechargeable. If you do have an extended grid down event where you have a larger source of power that you're going to be able to recharge batteries off of something like a full-size generator, these will really come in handy because you're going to burn through a lot of the non-rechargeable batteries, and if you can't restock your supply, these are going to be crucial. These typically have a longer battery life than regular batteries anyway, but the big advantage is if you're running a generator during the day, you can recharge your batteries during the day so you can use them at night for your flashlights. So again, the big advantage to these is that they are rechargeable, just like the name implies. Along with that, these, like I said, have a larger battery life capacity than the standard batteries, and they also do come in multiple sizes, including AA and AAA. So if you have smaller flashlights, you can get AAA, or for the larger flashlights, you can get AA, and I believe they even have them in random sizes for like your tactical flashlights as well. Moving on to the secondary ones are these very small rechargeable packs. And these are good for if you have a flashlight that takes a rechargeable battery, you can charge your flashlights right off this. These are good for recharging your phone on the go. The nice thing is these are very small. So again, you can charge them at home and then take them with you if you're worried about not having power, or if you're going on a long journey and you're worried about not having power along the way. These can recharge flashlights and phones. The only downside to these is that you are probably only going to get 1 or 2 charges out of your phone. These are not meant for multiple charges, you know, as in 3, 4, 5 charges, and they're not going to last for a super long time. You can get more expensive versions of these. You could see how I have a couple different ones here. This was like a one that they were giving out just kind of in like a gift bag, so that's a pretty cheap one. But you can get bigger ones. As you can see, the step-up process here, you can see how they come in different sizes. And depending on the size, you can recharge your phone more times as they get bigger. This is a more expensive one. This one has USB-C capabilities, so you can charge your phone faster. If that's something that you're looking for, is the speed of the recharge. And again, obviously, the bigger you get and the more features you get, the more expensive they become. So the smaller ones are kind of perfect for if you are only expecting to be out for maybe about 12 hours and you're just worried about keeping the battery life of your phone up, or maybe like a small flashlight. And then the bigger ones are better for charging your phone faster, or if you're going on a longer journey and you think you may have to recharge your phone multiple times, something like this Anchor is a better setup. Getting into something a little bit bigger, I have this battery pack here, and this battery pack actually serves multiple purposes. This is a phone charger. It also has a flashlight feature, if I can get it to work. It has a flashlight feature, and then, which of course is not going to work. And then it also has these jump packs. So this is actually strong enough to jump a car. So if you were having to go around and look for another vehicle, maybe one that was abandoned, that the battery was dead, and you needed to get into it, you could hook up these jump packs and supply power to it. And like I said, it also has a flashlight feature, and this is a much bigger pack than even the Anchor, so this could probably charge your phone even more times. But the biggest advantage to this is it's able to bump up the voltage so you can actually jumpstart a car, which if you can jumpstart a car, then you can charge some of these other smaller battery packs. And again, this is something that is small enough that you could put it in a backpack and take it with you, and it's not going to add too much weight to the pack. So I think this is a really good smaller jump pack. These are pretty inexpensive. You can usually get them, depending on the brand, right around $100. And again, the smaller ones, you're not going to be able to do as much as this one, but they're much cheaper and they're more portable. Going to the next step is going to be things like the Jackery or these smaller power stations. These have kind of become bigger on the market in the past couple years due to the technology of the lithium-ion batteries getting much better. These are now, I think, in my opinion, a better option for some of the smaller stuff. These usually, so these are 300 watt versions, so they're kind of like a mid-range one. I know Jackery makes, I think, a 150, which is really small, but these 300 versions are nice because something like this can recharge your phone up to 30 times. And they're only, I believe this one is 7 pounds and this one is maybe 6 pounds. These are just two different versions of basically like the same thing. And the nice thing about the solar, or the smaller packs, is they're adaptable, that you can charge them with a solar panel like I have in the background. But the biggest thing for these is that they're lightweight and they'll charge your phone a ton of times. Also, with this being up to 300 watts, you're going to be able to run things like LED bulbs, so you can run a full-size lamp in your house with an LED bulb in it. You could run an incandescent, but it'll drop the battery pretty quickly. So LEDs are perfect for this. They don't use a ton of power. You could probably run an LED lamp on this for, I don't know, maybe 12 hours, which is perfect. And the advantage to these is that they make zero noise. So in comparison to something like the generator that I have in the background, which is awesome, you can run an entire house off of that. But depending on how far in you are to an event where the power has been out for a long time, if you don't want to attract attention yourself and tell your neighbors that maybe you're not as friendly with, like, hey, I have power, something like this is great. Because if you have a tall fence in your backyard and nobody can see a solar panel, you can charge these during the day and then have power at night without anybody knowing. And that's a huge advantage in maybe a more serious event where power's been out for a long time. If you're trying to stay undercover and not let people know what you have, these are awesome. And the benefit to having two smaller ones like I have here is you can use one in the house to run things and have power, and then, you know, during the day, and then also charge the other one at the same time out in the sun. And with smaller packs like this, with a 120 watt panel like I have in the back, you can charge one of these in just a couple hours. So you can use one in the house, drain it down, and then put it on the charger and just keep flipping back and forth. The downside to these is that you're not going to run anything big with these. You're not going to run large appliances like a hairdryer, maybe like something with a bigger electric motor, like a drill that you would plug into the wall. These are going to be for lower draw component, like I said, like an LED lamp, charging a laptop or a phone. But overall, I mean, I still think it's really great. These usually run right around $300 a piece. Depending on the market, you can get them for a little bit cheaper. I think going with something in the middle, like a 300 watt range, is pretty good. Obviously, if you can afford something a little bit better, they make bigger models which are able to handle a bigger load. And for example, like the next one up for Jackery is 500, and I believe you go from being able to charge your phone like 30 times to like almost 50 times. So if you do have the money and you can go bigger, I don't see the problem with going bigger. The only downside is the bigger you go, the heavier they get, so they're not as portable. Another advantage to these, other than being able to charge using solar, is you can also charge them in the car. So if you were on the go and you were doing a trip where you were going to be driving in the car, you could charge them while you were driving and then take them out and put them in a backpack. Again, kind of going with these, I know I've been talking about them a lot, but another advantage to them is also the solar panels that you can hook up to them. Like I said, you can charge them during the day. And then also with the solar panels, they have, this one in particular has a smart controller. So if you had a bunch of car batteries that you grabbed, this actually will charge a car battery and it won't overcharge it. It has a controller built into it that plugs into the solar panel here. And then you would hook these alligator clips to a battery. And then you could charge a 12-volt battery during the day if these were full and you weren't using them, and use a converter and then just run like a regular wall outlet, again, like an LED lamp or something, all off battery power. And if you're in a long-term SHTF event, there may be car batteries that are sitting around not being used if there's not a lot of gas left. So another thing to look into. I think these are really, really good right now. They have a bunch of different levels on the market as far as the wattage and the size. So I think these are something to look into. I'm not going to specifically say what brand you should use because there's a lot out there that are really good. I do recommend getting a bigger solar panel if you're going to get one, just so you can charge some of the stuff faster during the day because you're not always going to have peak sunlight. But that's just kind of my point on these rechargeable solar generators. And then on to the big generator. Now, the big generator has a lot of advantages and a lot of disadvantages. So the big advantage to a full-size generator like this is it's going to create a ton of power. This one is a 1200 peak watt generator with a 9,500 running watts. So realistically, on a very small house, you could run almost an entire house on this. And that's going to be, lights, TVs, air conditioners, the whole deal. And again, it depends on the size of the house that you have, but they have full-size plugs that you can go from 120 to 240 volts. Same thing over here. And something this size is just you're gonna be able to run a whole house with it, which is really nice. These are perfect for if there's like a hurricane and you just have to run the house off of generator power for a couple days in a row. The disadvantage to something like this is the noise level. So the reason why I say that's an issue is if you were in a long-term event where you didn't want people to know that you had power, this is a problem because they're very, very loud. It's basically like putting a target on your back saying, hey, to anybody that doesn't have power, I have power. And again, if you have a really good community and you have good neighbors and, you don't have a problem with sharing some of the power, and maybe during the day when you have this thing running, you run an extension cord to your neighbor's house and say, hey, charge up all your stuff during the day and, we can share, and maybe that's a good thing. But the longer you go into an event like that, you're going to have issues letting people know that you have power. And again, going with a bigger one like this is nice because it has an 8.3 gallon tank. I start this thing probably about every 2 weeks, and I also put fuel treatment in it. That way the fuel can sit. And the advantage to one of these generators is also, again, there's going to be a ton of cars that are probably going to be abandoned. So if you had to grab fuel, you could siphon fuel, bring it home, put it in tanks, store it in tanks, and then run power continuously. But again, if you're in a more urban environment, this may not be your best choice. So to me, as an overall choice as far as power, I like the smaller solar generators just because they give you enough power that you can run small lights at night and very small appliances during the day. You still use solar panel to recharge them, and I just think they're an overall good setup. But I just wanted to go through everything so you guys could kind of get an idea of some different choices that you have during some of these events. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can drop them down below. Really like making these videos. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.